there's a kind of a fear of drafting rookies right now in redraft, given that they don't have as much time to get integrated into the offense as most seasons. And we won't have those 4 preseason games where we draw all sorts of ridiculous conclusions from a couple plays that we see. I do think training camp is definitely beneficial to do what we do, but you're not going to have it this year. And we got to start digging in now, because drafts are right around the corner. And some of these rookies, you might not even know who they are, or if you might have seen their name before or heard some stats. And the purpose of today's podcast is to just give you a real high-level overview on each player and why we have them ranked the way we do, and not to inundate you with statistics and measurables and all these things that we use to put these lists together. Just trust that we built out our projections. We took into account player profiles, archetype, coaching strategies, coaching changes, pace of play, predicted game script, Vegas odds. A lot of things went into these lists. And, we cannot have any rookie ranked higher than number 1 than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is the hands down number 1 rookie this year heading into redraft. Again, so just for context's sake, the type of leagues we're talking about is your common league and that you play with your friends in your home league. It's half-point PPR scoring, 1 quarterback, 1 flex spot. So typically in those formats, running backs are weighted higher than wide receivers. Now, if we were starting more than 2 wide receivers, or we had more than 1 flex spot, we might see wide receivers higher up on these rankings. But given that running backs are more predictable, we know that they're getting the touchdowns, and fragility is up for debate. I think running backs are just as fragile as wide receivers. So you're going to see a lot of wide receivers here at the top of the list. We talked about back in May about the big 5, and that list was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathon Taylor, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins. Top 5 running backs. If you look at anyone's ranks, that's their top 5. And typically in your rookie drafts, in your dynasty leagues, those are the first 5 players you're going to see go off the board. But we're talking about redraft today, and we want to know where in our drafts can we take these rookies? Where is it acceptable to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire this year, in comparing him to Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott and Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon? But before we line them up in comparison with all of the rest of the players in the league, let's just set our brains and get those rookie rankings in our heads. How do we feel about these rookies? Number 1, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Chiefs have 25 running back touches up for grabs, and each Chiefs running back touch is worth 1.2 points. And Damian Williams opted out. And the only other running backs that are there are 2 of them are undrafted, and one of them is DeAndre Washington. And DeAndre Washington played college with Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. So watch out for DeAndre Washington taking some of those early down reps, some of those goal line reps, but we can still reasonably project Clyde Edwards-Helaire for at least 16 touches a game. Perhaps his ceiling is 20. He's going to be catching balls and getting you those half-point PPR points. Louis Riddick just said he's been integrating in the offense perfectly this summer. We found out that he was sneaking around with Patrick Mahomes and doing some off-season workouts as early as May. And remember, Patrick Mahomes is the one that texted Chiefs management and said, go get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And he's the only running back that was taken in the first round in the real NFL draft this year. Number 2 on the list is Jonathon Taylor, probably the most talented running back we've seen maybe since Barkley, but I think Barkley's better. Some are saying that. I think he's as talented as Zeke when he came out. He's super fast. He's super big. He's going to be running behind one of the best offensive lines in the league with the Colts and Quentin Nelson, just road graders. And the Colts have the easiest schedule in football. Number 3 on the list, behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathon Taylor, is Cam Akers. Now, if we were talking about straight-up dynasty, I wouldn't have Cam Akers number 3. I would have him number 5. But we're talking about just this season. And Cam Akers' competition around him is Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, and a guy you might remember from 2018 hype, John Kelley. John Kelley's a guy that are on a lot of dynasty rosters because of the preseason and a breakout game he had 2 years ago. So Cam Akers is a 3-down back, all but 3 of his rushing yards in college came after contact. The guy is going to be running behind a bad line with the Rams, but he ran behind an even worse line in college. So he'll be able to handle it. He can catch balls. He can run hard up the middle. The nice thing about Cam Akers is that even though the Rams line is going to be bad, they are running more 12 personnel. So more tight ends will be in there to help block. We have no idea what the Rams are going to be doing in the red zone this year. Historically with Todd Gurley, when they were running 11 personnel and they had better blocking up front, it was the Todd Gurley show in the red zone. Really smart people like Jacob Gibbs, who came on the podcast last week, has talked about the new offensive coaching minds for the Rams and how he thinks they're going to be throwing it more in the red zone. And that's why we like, Gerald Everett super late and Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee and all these guys. But Cam Akers has the least amount of competition out of the rest of the running backs on this list, paired with I think the third best talent. So he's number 3 on our list. The number 4 rookie is DeAndre Swift, running back for the Lions. He's going to be splitting time with Kerryon Johnson. The nice thing is Kerryon Johnson has said, he's been very vocal, I'm not a 3-down back. So we can anticipate Swift to hopefully take those passing down work. Maybe he, towards the end of the season, middle of the season, he starts to edge him out on some of that early down work. And who knows if Kerryon Johnson can stay healthy this year. I love the talent of DeAndre Swift. A lot of people had him as the number 1 rookie before the NFL draft. The reason he's number 4 is it's the Detroit Lions, guys. We cannot trust Matt Patricia and that Lions team. Who knows what they're going to be doing this year? I think that Stafford's a good bet to be chucking it a lot because their defense isn't going to be very good. But it's hard to realistically project Swift for more than 150, 160 touches. 5th on the list, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens run the most pistol and shotgun formation out of any team in the league. That's what Ohio State ran. The guy just ate in college out of the pistol and shotgun formation. The reason he's number 5 and he's behind Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, is he's behind Mark Ingram. And Mark Ingram still has at least one more year of bell cow duties for the Ravens. He's on contract for 2 years, but they could cut him after this year and only take, I think it's $1 or $1.5 million against the cap. So, one more year Ingram. After this year, it's going to be the J.K. Dobbins show. But they still have Gus the Bus Edwards. They still have Justice Hill. I heard they were just working out some other unsigned rookie this week too. So, unsigned running back this week too. So I think Dobbins is a safe bet at 5. Somebody that might give you a nice run in the playoff push. The Ravens also have a super easy schedule this year, and you got to think they're going to be protecting Lamar a little bit more. Who knows if that means he's not going to rush as much in the red zone, but would love a Lamar and J.K. Dobbins stack on a team and catch those double stack those touchdowns in the red zone if he dumps it down to Dobbins like Ohio State did with Dobbins. Number 6 on the list is our first wide receiver. It's CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys. It's hard to project exactly what role he's going to play in the offense, but all the reports from Dak and McCarthy and the whole team is that he's fitting in really well. He's picking up really quickly, and I lean towards fading rookie wide receivers just a little bit more than considering fading rookie running backs without this camp, because wide receiver, it's a much more complicated position to learn. But the more and more reports that come out that the guys like CeeDee Lamb were at Dak Prescott's house and they were kind of gaming the system, I think it would be silly to fade quite possibly the most talented rookie wide receivers that we've seen since that 2016 class. His comp on playerprofile.com is Jerry Rice. CeeDee Lamb is he's hard to fade. And who knows if he's going to play the slot or if Cooper's going to play the slot. We know Gallup's going to play outside. Blake Jarwin's going to be the tight end, and no more Witten, no more Randall Cobb. 180 targets up for grab. You got to think CD can command, 80 targets this year. I think I had him projected at 85. Dak's going to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be fireworks in Dallas all year. Number 7 on the list is a guy who rose from, I think I had him at number 18 before Darius Geis went down, Antonio Gibson. He's number 7 on the list, the 6th running back off the board. And, with Geis being released by the Redskins, he's going to be battling out a guy by the name of Bryce Love, who was a pretty talented rookie at 2018, been plagued by injury. Doesn't exactly have the archetype body type that we look like, for our running backs. Adrian Peterson's still there. So Adrian Peterson will probably get the early down work early in the season. But Antonio Gibson, again, he runs, what is it, 4.39, I think it is. His yards after the catch is insane. He is one of the most fun players to watch. Just watch tape on Antonio Gibson and tell me you can't put him below number 7 on this list. And we think that the Redskins are going to have a faster pace of play. He's also can be used as a wide receiver out of the slot. We love those slot targets, especially with a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. So get really excited about Antonio Gibson this year. I mean, I would take him as early as 8th round in redraft. I mean, that's where Lamb's going, and I have him right behind Lamb. Number 8 on the list is Jalen Reagor, wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, the wide receivers on the Eagles are Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey, who's going to start the year on the PUP list, Greg Ward, who's a nobody. They have a couple rookies, John Hightower and Quez Watkins, but they drafted Jalen Reagor to be the alpha. I mean, he's going to be the alpha receiver in this offense. Their line, they just had another offensive lineman opt out for the Eagles. So, and their defense isn't good, especially their secondary. So they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. And besides Ertz and Goddard, there's really no one else to throw the ball to. So, I mean, Reagor can jump out of the building. He's got speed. He's got agility. Jalen Reagor, he could be a true alpha in the NFL. And he's in the right situation for it this year. Number 8 on the list is a guy that rose about 6 spots up my rankings this summer, Henry Ruggs, the Oakland Raiders wide receiver. They just said that he might be spending some time in the slot. He is going to be starting at receiver. We love to see that. The fastest player in this draft, the first receiver taken off the board in this year's NFL draft was Henry Ruggs by John Gruden and the ghost of Hal Michaels. But Ruggs was a guy I was kind of fading in his first year because I thought maybe he'd be used more as a decoy. Hunter Renfro's in the slot. Waller's going to eat up those slot targets, but there hasn't been much talk of Renfro or Tyrell Williams this summer. But there's been a lot of hype around Bryan Edwards, who's the other rookie wide receiver for the Raiders, and Henry Ruggs. And the more tape I watch on Ruggs, the more this dude is just mean. He's got good hands. He can run more than just deep routes. And I think you remember that one slant that OBJ took to the house out of the year last year, week 2, where he just caught it after 5 yards past the line of scrimmage and then gone. And then everyone started OBJ every week the rest of the year trying to chase that touchdown, and it never happened. I mean, that's Ruggs. That's what Ruggs can do for an offense. So Henry Ruggs, number 9. Number 10 on the list is Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Let me know if you can name any other receivers in the Vikings besides him and Adam Thielen. Maybe B.C. Johnson. Kyle Rudolph is getting up there in age. Irv Smith is up and coming as a second-year tight end. The Vikings have lost some defensive players, and I don't think they're going to be as ground and pound as they were last year. They just won't have that luxury. And if you watch Jefferson, he's not just a slot guy. He's not just like what we just talked about with that OBJ or Ruggs, that catch-and-go guy. But if you watch that LSU tape, literally every time Joe Burrow's pocket breaks down or he's on the run, he finds Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson just knows how to get open. And I think that it'll be a really good safety blanket for Kirk Cousins over the middle, while Adam Thielen's probably going to gobble up like 150 targets on the outside this year. Don't sleep on Adam Thielen either. So that's our top 10. CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathon Taylor, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, CeeDee Lamb, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Reagor, Henry Ruggs, Justin Jefferson. Number 11 on our list is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy was a guy in a lot of people's top 5s in Dynasty. And if this was Dynasty, I might put him ahead of Jefferson. That's probably it on this list. Yeah. But we're talking redraft here, and there's just so many weapons for the Broncos. They have Cortland Sutton. They have Jerry Jeudy in the slot. They're going to be having KJ Hamler run deep routes. They still have Deshaun Hamilton. They still have that Troy guy. I forgot his last name. And now they have Drew Lock's favorite tight end target from college, from Mizzou, Alberto, in addition to Noah Fant and Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, Royce Freeman. So it's not a shot on Jerry Jeudy's talent. It's just, I think the Broncos are going to be a lot more run heavy than people are expecting. Just because they drafted a bunch of receivers doesn't mean all of a sudden overnight they're going to be this high flying passing offense. They have a good defense and a really, really good O-line. That it's going to be Melvin Gordon's best O-line he's ever played with. So I think they're just going to pound the rock to Melvin Gordon this year. So that's why Jerry Jeudy's outside the top 10. Number 12 on the list is Brandon Aiyuk. He was a guy I had at number 20 before Deebo Samuel went down. And he is the wide receiver 1 for the San Francisco Niners. He never played it down for the Niners. But Brandon Aiyuk is the wide receiver 1 for the Niners. I think they like Kendrick Bourne, who's super slow but big and tall, as a target in the red zone. Jalen Hurd, who is a second-year wide receiver who missed his whole rookie year with an injury, is supposed to play the big slot, but we haven't seen it yet. And Kittle can't do it all. They're not going to run 80 times a game. And Brandon Aiyuk is Deebo Samuel. And they have the same measure. He's a little bit faster than Deebo. Deebo's a little bit bigger, a little bit tougher. But Brandon Aiyuk is faster. He's a yards after the catch guy. They took him in the first round. They took him over a lot of studs. I heard that the Niners would have taken him as the number 1 wide receiver over Ruggs, Lamb, Jeudy, Reagor, Jefferson, all those guys, which is they love him. I mean, the guy he went to JUCO for 2 years, right? I mean, that's a lot of hype, but no Emmanuel Sanders there. Brandon Ayuk's going to be a half-point PPR monster. And he actually had a lot more touchdowns in college than I thought. I was calling him just a between the 20s guy and thought that they'd run or go to Kittle or go to Deebo in the red zone. The more I dug into Brandon Aiyuk, he had some nasty touchdowns. And his yards after the catch is a pretty beautiful thing to watch. So Brandon Aiyuk, number 12. Number 13 on this list is another huge riser, Zack Moss, running back for the Buffalo Bills. We've said it a couple times in this podcast, sliding into the Frank Gore role, and Jacob Gibbs was on last week talking about how much he loves Zack Moss. I don't really have anything else to add. Listen to the podcast of Jacob, Zack Moss. I mean, he's going to be passing down work, goal line work for the Bills, where Singletary's going to be that between the 20s guy. Number 14 on the list is Laviska Shenault. Viska for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a wide receiver, but he could be used as a running back. And his closest comparable is A.J. Brown. Just think about A.J. Brown on the Jags, and that's Laviska Shenault. And he is a big, fast, yards after the catch, hard to take down man. And he slipped in drafts because he was hurt at the combine, so we don't have those measurables. Watch some Laviska Shenault tape and try to tell me that you think anyone else on that Jaguars team is going to be better than him in second and targets. It's going to be DJ Chark just smashing this year, and then Laviska Shenault, because Chris Conley, Dede Westbrook, these guys aren't going to make an impact this year. Number 15 on the list is Michael Pittman, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. He is going to be playing the Vincent Jackson type role for Phillip Rivers, if Phillip Rivers can get the ball downfield to him. But, Pittman is super mature. He's big. He's relatively fast. Great hands. And I just don't really believe in T.Y. Hilton playing for a full season or Paris Campbell playing for a full season. But I do think that both are good values at their ADPs because everybody is sleeping on the Colts passing game for good reason because, Rivers doesn't have that much of an arm, but he'll figure it out. He'll make it happen. He can get the ball to those guys in space and let them get their yards after the catch. I think Michael Pittman is a guy that will be fairly frustrating to own in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks, but one of those guys that can help make that playoff push for you. Number 16 on the list is Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims has one of the most impressive profiles out of all the wide receivers this year. He plays for the Jets, though. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to rank him. Are we just going to rank him super high because we love the profile? We can't do that. It's Adam Gase. It's Sam Darnold. I like Sam Darnold, but it's hard to put much faith in this Jets offense with Gase at the helm. his competition isn't that stiff in Rashad Perryman and Jamison Crowder and Chris Herndon. But, it's kind of a dark throw. I could see any one of those four guys I just listed, Mims, Crowder, Perryman, Herndon, all having a breakout type year, and nobody would blink an eye, and nobody would really notice that the other guys didn't break out. So Denzel Mims, a lot of upside, choose him at your own risk because it's the Jets. Number 17 on the list is Joe Burrow, our first quarterback. Remember, this is just for one QB league, so there's really, you only need to start 12 quarterbacks in a one QB league. So, quarterbacks that are ranked between 12 and 20, like Burrow is this year for redraft, not someone I'm killing myself to go out and get because the quarterback position is just so deep this year. But gotta love Burrow. I mean, he's got a bunch of weapons, an improved O-line. He was working out with T. Higgins in the offseason. AJ Green's healthy. Tyler Boyd's slot monster. Joe Mixon, we love his talent. So, I like Joe Burrow. But I just think that position scarcity at quarterback is much different than in these other positions. Number 18 on the list is Lynn Bowden Jr. from the Oakland Raiders. He is a hybrid wide receiver, running back, quarterback. I think he's going to be taking a lot of the passing down work for the Raiders from Jalen Reagor, and he's going to be used in red zone packages, and will be able to maybe even throw you a couple touchdowns this year. Super, super impressive profile. I am betting on talent here. I call me a hypocrite, but I just love his talent. That's why I have him over the next guy on this list, which is Keyshawn Vaughn, who has a B talent, B- talent. He went to U of I, and then he went to Vanderbilt. Strong between the tackles runner, Keyshawn Vaughn here, running back for the Bucs at number 19. But the problem is the competition, because they already called Ronald Jones the bell cow. Dario Ogunbowale has been practicing with Brady as the passing down back. They also drafted Raymond Calais, and they just went out and signed LaShawn McCoy. Why? Because Keyshawn Vaughn got COVID, and he still has COVID, and he hasn't even practiced once with the team yet. So Arians is just going around firing off all the reps that he's missed so far this year. And Keyshawn Vaughn could be a good value if you can get him in the 13th, 14th round. Because he could come on late. Ronald Jones could get benched at any time for missing a blocking assignment and almost letting Brady die or something like that. Or he could easily usurp Dare in the passing down role. But it's just going to take a while. Number 20 on the list is T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Bengals. We just talked about him with Joe Burrow. He should be playing behind AJ Green and not starting is what I'm thinking. It's just logically, their wide receivers for the Bengals are going to be AJ Green on the outside, Tyler Boyd in the slot, and then John Ross on the outside, who's got the speed, takes the top off the defense. T. Higgins, the one thing he doesn't have is speed. So T. Higgins' guy is going to need an injury in front of him to make an impact. Kind of similar to this next guy, Bryan Edwards. I like his talent too, but we've seen a lot of people with the big body kind of profiles who broke out super young in their career and then didn't really hit their peak later. Bryan Edwards broke out at, I think, 17 years old. So he's on the Raiders. We already like Josh Jacobs. We already like Bowden. We already like Ruggs. I don't like the Raiders offense enough to go around touting Bryan Edwards in redraft. I think he's a great scoop up in Dynasty. And just kind of see where the chips fall with the Raiders this year, what happens with Hunter Renfrow, what happens with Tyrell Williams. But I can't have Bryan Edwards in the top 20 for redraft this year. There's just too much competition there, and Derek Carr's not very good, and neither is Marcus Mariota. Number 22 on the list is A.J. Dillon, running back for the Green Bay Packers. He is one of three running backs that's going to be in a rotation with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, a guy that might come on late and have kind of that playoff push touchdown run that Aaron Jones got you last year, but that was so situational based. The Packers were playing crappy teams. The receivers were getting tackled on the one, and they were just pounding it up to Aaron Jones. I know LaFleur wants to be super run heavy this year, and they probably will be, but Aaron Jones, they're going to use and abuse him. He's got a year left on his deal, and they're going to I think they're going to preserve Dillon for the future. Number 23 on the list is KJ Hamler, wide receiver for the Broncos. Tyreek Ruggs type guy. Even smaller though. He's a tiny player. He can take the top off defense. He can get the yak, but he's on the Broncos, and he's probably the sixth option on the Broncos. KJ Hamler is, so you can't have him in the top 20. Number 24 on the list is Joshua Kelley, running back for he came out of UCLA, but he's the running back for the San Diego Chargers. And we know Austin Eckler he's used more like a hybrid wide receiver, and he's going to be lining up in the slot and lining up as a receiver. And Joshua Kelley has that big goal line body type, and there's a lot of coaching ties on the Chargers to UCLA where he played, and they just love him. I love him. I think he's a 3-down back. I think that if Eckler were to go down, he could be a league winner. And I just don't think Justin Jackson's very good. And he's too small to be the goal line back. So Kelley's going to get those Melvin Gordon touches. And that's a valuable role in this Chargers offense. Last one we're going to talk about today is Devin Duvernay, number 25 on our list, wide receiver for the Ravens. He's got speed. He's going to be playing in the slot. The Ravens are going to have to throw more. Willie Snead lost weight. Why is Willie Snead losing weight? He's already like 160 pounds. And the rookie from last year, Miles Boykin, he didn't really do anything last year. I like Boykin as a late-round flyer just as much as I like Duvernay as a late-round flyer this year. But Boykin's going a little bit ahead of Duvernay. And Duvernay's speed is just what Lamar Jackson wants. To be coupled with Marquise Brown's speed, who at any time, one of them can be going deep and one of them can be going over the middle. So I think that Devin Duvernay, number 25th rookie, you could probably get him in the 19th, 20th round of your redraft league. He's a great late round dart throw. Now, we're not going to talk about these next 25 players, but I'm going to quickly list them off for you. Starting at number 26, Chase Claypool, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Darrington Evans, number 27. Running back for the Tennessee Titans behind Derrick Henry, who just got a new contract. So they're probably going to ride Henry this year. Then Anthony McFarland, number 28, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tua, number 29, quarterback for the Dolphins. Van Jefferson at number 30, wide receiver for the Rams. Number 31, Cole Kmet. Number 32, Adam Troutman. Number 33, Albert O. All three of them are tight ends. So Cole Kmet's our number 1 tight end for the Bears. Adam Troutman, number 2 tight end for the Saints behind Jared Cook. And Albert O is the tight end that we talked about. That was Drew Lock's target from Missouri that now plays with Drew Lock in Denver. Eno Benjamin, running back for the Cardinals, number 34. Number 35, tight end Devin Asiasi for the New England Patriots. Number 36, Tyler Johnson, wide receiver for the Bucs. Number 37, Michael P. Ryan, running back for the Jets. Number 38, Gabriel Davis, wide receiver for the Bills. Number 39, Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers. Number 40, DJ Dallas, running back for the Seahawks. Number 41, Hunter Bryant, tight end. Thaddeus Moss, tight end behind him. Donovan Peoples-Jones, wide receiver for the Browns. Harrison Bryant, another tight end. Bryson Hopkins, another tight end. Number 46, we have John Hightower, wide receiver for the Eagles. Number 47, Dalton Keene, another tight end. Number 48, Joe Reed, wide receiver for the Chargers. Number 49, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Bears. And number 50, Michael Warren, running back for the Eagles. That takes us to the end of our top 50 redraft rookie rankings in half PPR scoring formats with one quarterback leagues. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast and join us next week for another one.